Welcome to part 2 of the Thalassophobic Curiosities. Thalassophobia. It means fear of the deep ocean. And today we're going to discuss more strange creatures of the deep. I do have a correction from last time. This was a pack that people really liked. I really liked it. Slender Ender Guy made it, and they tightened this collection up a little bit, made it a little more condensed. But still lots of good info, lots of good creatures. Now, the mistake I made was I said that this took 4 years to make. Apparently it took a week to put together. The thing that was 4 years to work on is a different project I'm currently still working on to this day. It's a series of animated horror videos that also involve the deep sea. The entries are creatures that I either already knew about or learned about while researching for the project. Oh. Okay, well, that is a little different. So, let's get started. Last time we covered a lot of fishy creatures. We covered, like, whales and all that stuff. This time, look what we got here. Wow, it's a squid. Specifically, the Firefly squid. These small squids don't really look remarkable. Look like an average squid you might normally see in a seafood market, but they're entirely covered in photophores, allowing them to glow a beautiful blue color. Plus, they tend to travel in groups, so if you're lucky enough to see them, you might be treated to an ethereal light show. Nice. You know what it looks like? It looks like a drone show, or like a hologram. I'm surprised we don't have these in underwater tunnels to be exploited for people's enjoyment. But yeah, those are very cool squids. I don't mean that as a good thing, but I just you would assume that would happen. Next one is the Cockeyed squid. Good name. The name of the squid says everything you need to know, but I'll still give a brief description. Sometimes called the strawberry squid, these squids have evolved an unusual adaptation to help them see in the dark depths of the ocean. One of their eyes is normal-sized and does normal things like a squid eye should, but the other eye is much larger and aims upwards. This eye helps them spot predators and prey above them and absorbs as much ambient light as possible to aid in seeing in the dark. So, oh, look at that. Oh, that's so weird. This is the most perfect music for this creature, too. What an amazing piece of video this is. Oh, wow. That doesn't look real. That almost looks like the eye looks generated. You know what I mean? Like a computer. There's a lot of symmetry in nature, from my understanding. Mostly symmetry, but this... not so much, huh? Wow. Someone said that's the squid's weak point. That damn Majora's Mask remake. Everything got a big glowing eye. Next is the whiplash squid. The squid gets its name from 2 extra long feeding tentacles. The suction cups on the tentacles are very good at grabbing onto whatever swims into them. Their feeding behavior is similar to the Magnapina squid. They will dangle their long feeding arms close to the ocean floor and wait for unsuspecting prey to get caught in them. Yeah, that's one of the things. We saw something real weird last time. Long dangly arms on a living being just freak me out. It's also, I guess, for insects as well. Especially insects. But yeah, that's a really weird one, huh? the education stuff that we've been doing here, so to speak, education. This is the kind of stuff I liked learning about in school, but it wasn't always this interesting. So, I mean, once in a while, it's nice to do something like this. And I believe someone is currently in the works, got insects. That was a bad sentence, but insect facts are on the way, chat. Similar to this. But that'll be in the future. This is the glowing sucker octopus. Couldn't find a lot of information on these octopuses. Is it octopi or octopuses? What about that James Bond movie? But as the name suggests, their suckers exhibit bioluminescence and can flash them on and off. The main reason I added this entry is because of a haunting photo that was taken during an older exhibition. So I'll show you that in a minute. I know, they're kind of nice fellas. I like these. At what point did a human look at this and say, that looks delicious, though? That's what I want to know. Not that we've eaten this specific one. This is the photo in question. The weird one. You know what that looks like? A companion piece to Radiohead The Bends. That just kind of looks like a cool album cover. Radiohead The Bends 2, The Squeakquel. Next is the vampire squid, one I've heard of. These unusual cephalopods are classified as neither octopus or squid, even though they're in the same phylum. In fact, they're the sole members of their own family. Some people think these are vicious predators according to their name and appearance, but they're anything but aggressive. They slowly drift through the ocean, feeding on marine snow. Marine snow is a shower of organic detritus and debris falling from the surface. It usually consists of dead, decaying bits of fish, dead phytoplankton, etc. They'll sometimes contain the waste fecal matter or even seminal fluids from aquatic life. As disgusting as that sounds, it is an extremely beneficial part of the ocean's ecosystem. I hope that information doesn't deter you from going to the beach. Well, I knew there were seamen in the ocean, but this is a different thing entirely. You know, this makes learning fun. There's another one. There's another close-up. Action shots. Okay. Let's see what we have next. Joben's squid. I like when various animals are named after their discoverer, like Cooper's hawk. Jobel's squid. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of information on the squid since it hardly ever is seen. Just like the Planctoteuthis. It floats around in the deeper parts of the ocean waiting for prey to come by. But they have long tentacles that will outstretch in hopes of getting something to swim into one of them. I've noticed that's a common theme, is some of these creatures just evolved in a weird way, where they're like, I'm lazy. Maybe something will come by, whatever. Just long-ass limbs. Next is the piglet squid. So if you want to pinch your piglet, don't. This tiny squid is elusive, meaning we don't have a lot of information to go off of. They got their name from their plump bodies and surprisingly large siphons, which look like a pig's snout. That does look a bit like a pig. That actually is a very cute squid. Wow. I really don't want to see through it. There's a number of deep sea life, a lot of deep sea life rather, that you can see through. And I just don't need to see that shit. Speaking of, is that literally shit? Can't wait to see this turned into a pop idol in the next Splatoon. This is all Splatoon core. Splat core. They are really cool, though. The pictures are, like, I don't know, they're just something about them. They don't even seem real. Very interesting. This is the giant squid. Okay. I'm sure almost all of you know this one. And all of its myths. But the reason I added this on here is because of two close-up encounters that happened in Japan. The first encounter took place in Toyama Bay on Christmas Eve, 2015. So that's this one. And also this one. Wow. The diver who filmed the entire encounter, who was conveniently a local dive shop owner, was able to interact with the squid, and it didn't seem to show any signs of aggression. It was estimated to be 12 feet long, so it wasn't even fully grown. It was reported that after a few hours, the squid swam back into the open ocean. Had a little malfunction. It's happened again. I'm malfunctioning, chat. Malfunctioning. The second encounter took place in the Sea of Japan near Toyuka City in the Hyogo Prefecture a little over a year ago. So that's this one. Wow. Local ferryman notified Yosuke Tanaka Auto, a local diver who co-runs a diving business with his wife, about the giant squid, and Yosuke hurried over to the location. He spent a half hour while the squid getting up close and capturing excellent footage, as well as photos. This squid was 8.2 feet long, and unfortunately, due to how its skin looked and how slow it was swimming, it wasn't going to last much longer. It most likely died a few days after the encounter. Well, that's a shame. I mean, it's interesting because, yeah, these... For a while, I was like, are these just, like, legends? And then you find out, no, they're actually real. Just giant squids. At the Natural History Museum in New York City, they have a giant-ass squid. It's my favorite part of the deep sea exhibit. Of any of the sea exhibits, they have this just, like, to-scale giant squid. And there's even whale in the same exhibit. It's really interesting. Colossal squid. Oh, there's a video here too. Just like the previous entry, I added this one due to one encounter that not a lot of people know about. I'm sure you all know about a video that was on the Discovery Channel showing the colossal squid that was captured and then released in 2007. But something similar happened in the D'Urville Sea off the east coast of Antarctica in 2008. A Russian scientist that was on a South Korean research vessel filmed the squid latched on a toothfish that was caught by a line. It is currently the best-known footage of a living specimen. It wasn't at its full growth size, but it was in perfect health and even changed the color of its skin from maroon to a lighter shade. After a few minutes, it let go of the fish and swam back into the frigid depths. So I'll show you, here's this one as well. And there's a video, and then there's an update. We have a squid update. This is Colossal Squid Baba. Update as of 4/16/2025. A few days ago, during an expedition of the South Sandwich Islands, I shit you not, that's what they're called, a live specimen was streamed in its natural habitat for the first time. Albeit a juvenile specimen, this is an incredible find. Wow. It appears to possess a transparent body, like its cockatoo squid relative, and its red chromatophores are starting to develop. However, unlike the cockatoo squid, its tentacles don't seem to point upward like a cockatoo's head crest. So it seems like that theory has been debunked. And here's a segment of the footage. That's really, really cool. The South Sandwich Islands are a British territory in South America, by the way, chat. I'm being told by another chat member. Helpful and intelligent chat member. That's cool. So yeah, that's the squid section. Really, really fascinating creatures, huh? And not something that it all looks appetizing. And I don't know why we eat these things. But I also like fried calamari. Sorry. And that's one of the few seafood items I do eat, weirdly. Next, we're on to crabs. All right, listen, I'm not going to start talking about food for all of these. This is the Yeti crab, but genuinely, dude, I don't eat crustaceans. I don't eat crab or lobster because it has grossed me out on so many occasions to watch people eat them. I know I'm missing out. I know they're delicious, etc., etc., etc. But, you know, if shrimps is bugs, what the hell is crabs? These unusual crabs are considered not to be true crabs. They live in the extreme depths of the ocean and are seen huddled in massive groups around hydrothermal vents or cold seeps to feed and stay warm. The nutrients and bacteria the hydrothermal vents and cold seeps give off are important to the ecosystem of the deep sea, and these crabs took advantage of feeding on these microorganisms and bacteria by evolving fur-like bristles on their arms, hence the name. The bristles encourage the bacteria and microorganisms to grow on the crab's arms, thus allowing them to have a somewhat stable food source. Oh, that's a weird image. Instead of eating, why not making a plush? This would probably be like, you know, someone's pet crab. If people could have pet crabs, maybe they would have this as a pet crab. They seem the most pet-like of all the crabs. This is the slipper lobster. These don't even look like lobsters at all, but evolution does weird things. These lobsters have claws that are smaller than the claws of an average lobster, and its antenna has shortened and flattened to form a shovel-like shape. This body plan helps them hide in caves, between rocks, or bury in the sand. They can live in shallow waters as well as the deep sea. Even though they look bizarre, they apparently taste good, since they're a delicacy in some parts of the world. Okay, well that time I didn't have to bring it up. But someone was like, that looks wonderful. Strange little things. It's like my favorite Star Wars creatures are ones inspired by the humble lobster. Because they're so alien looking. I've said it before, but even here on this Earth, we sure have a lot of stuff that looks like aliens. Case in point, the sea spider. If you're an arachnophobe, I'd look away for a minute. I probably should have read that first. Even though they have the word spider in their name, these hellspawn are not spiders. But they are related to the group that branched off to become crabs and ordinary spiders. Over 1,300 species of sea spider exist in the ocean today. Most of them are tiny, but the largest ones can get as big as a dinner plate. They use their Squidward nose-looking proboscis to pierce slow-moving prey and suck out their insides. So it's a good thing that they only get as large as a dinner plate. I'm thinking about those tripods from War of the Worlds, but just a ton of these. Just these. Let's see what else we have here for images of these creatures. So I don't like spiders. I wouldn't call myself an arachnophobe. I don't like them. They freak me out. And I don't want them near me. That looks like, that looks very, very similar to a face hugger from the Alien movie. That's, actually... I wonder if that's like the closest analog we have on Earth. Maybe some inspiration was found. Here's another one. That's the proboscis, I believe, we're looking at. Is that its front? I don't know. Proboscis is like a long tube-like thing. I believe flies have them as well. Speaking of flies, might be time for a The Fly rewatch. Amphipod. There are 10,714 different species that exist on our planet, and 79% of them live in the ocean. But I'm going to be focusing on one species, the glass amphipod, or Christosoma, are deep-sea inhabitants that have evolved to be almost completely transparent. Sometimes it's even hard for people to spot them when going on diving exhibitions. They are detritivores and scavengers, so basically anything is fair game. I didn't know that word existed, detritivores. They eat detritus. I eat trash! Got one here. Yeah, I just don't think I would want to have this in my hand. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but boy, is that thing clear. They should do blind boxes with this kind of shit. Someone has probably tried to eat one of these things, because humans are nuts, and we're like, oh, new species, let's see what it tastes like. What's this one called? Phronema. This is another species of transparent amphipod. Instead of being detritivores, these amphipods are predators. They mostly eat zooplankton, but they also prey on salps or tunicates. If they capture a tunicate, they will most likely eat out its insides and use the gelatinous outsides as a mobile home. What the fuck? Hold the fort. They will lay their eggs inside the hollowed-out corpse so their young may have a chance at survival. Oh my god. I'll show you that in a minute, but man, nature is fucked up sometimes. Weird. So here's the example of that. The tunicate being hollowed out as a home for their young. The humble tunicate playing its role in nature. And again, someone has just picked it up. I don't know what a tunicate is, but I might need to know. I mean, I can kind of imagine. This one's called the skeleton shrimp, aka One-Shot Johnny. The name of this creature is misleading because it's not even a shrimp. Just like the previous two entries, these are amphipods. These guys are very tiny, only being a few millimeters in size. They hunt and compete for mates using those claw-like appendages called gnathopods. When a female lays her eggs and they eventually hatch, the young amphipod will be squirming around while attached to their mother. It honestly looks like a scene from a B-rated horror movie. One-Shot Johnny, huh? That was not correct, by the way. I'm sorry. What you're looking at is not One-Shot Johnny. The image that you're seeing is still the Phronema, the previous one. This is One-Shot Johnny. I was hoping not to make these kinds of mistakes this time, but once in a while. This is even worse. Like this, if you blew this up and put it in Subnautica, this would be horrifying. They look like, yeah, they look like mantis. Underwater mantis creatures. Wow. They're so small. Is this still the One-Shot Johnny? It is. No. Let me scroll down for the One-Shot Johnny. .png. Attack, speed, no defense, no special. Okay, next is the Polychedidae. Polychelidae. Polychedidae. I'm assuming is how you say that. Cheadle? Don Cheadle? It's Don Cheadle, everybody! These mysterious lobster-like crustaceans are described as primitive, and rightly so. They live near or on the ocean floor in the secluded cold depths. Since no light reaches where they live, they've evolved to no longer have eyes. They usually hang out on rocks or the sediment, waiting for prey, according to some biologists. Their feeding habits aren't fully known, though, since they've only been observed a handful of times. It's interesting to think that there are still creatures on this earth that have only been seen a couple times. Like rare, like Pokemon. But then what's more interesting, and not at all surprising, is just how many species we haven't discovered. I mean, that gets also into some of the stuff that we've talked about in segments where I talk about, like, cryptozoology kind of shit, which, you know, some stuff is mistaken for stuff that we are aware of, and then there's probably just some stuff that's hiding so well. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the cryptids that we are vaguely aware of, or, like, you know, have discussed in previous segments, or are just kind of semi-popular and talked about, are just some unknown species that has only been seen once or twice, and it just seems creepy. The problem is when you start adding supernatural, that's when it starts getting a little bit weird and unbelievable. This here is the blind lobster. Just like the previous entry, these lobsters no longer have eyes due to their deep water habitat. They've been seen spending most of their time sitting out in the open with their unsettlingly long claws open at an angle well over 100 degrees, waiting for prey. They've also been observed protecting burrows they've made on the ocean floor and occasionally sharing it with one or more members of their kind. During one exhibition, it was discovered that they do something that caught marine biologists off guard. One specimen that was being observed was seen waving around what looked like a piece of dead tissue. And a few minutes later, a squid came close, seemingly attracted to the object, and the lobster was able to catch the squid. The squid did wriggle itself free, though. With this finding, it is believed that these lobsters have the intelligence to attract prey by using anything that can be considered bait. I've included footage of this discovery. Okay, so let's see what the blind lobster is able to do. The humble blind lobster. The intelligent blind lobster. Wow, those are weird. Again, someone is like licking their lips and like, I would eat that. There's no part of this that looks appetizing. I'll stop that. I really need to stop mentioning how these things do not look appetizing, but... Alright, blind lobster. Here we go. Tries to catch squid. Wow. That's amazing. Just ready. Good timing on the music there. Almost. It's interested. It's interested. Oh my god. Squids. Stay away. Oh my god. I want to take a look at that again. It almost... I mean, it kind of... I mean, it probably left a little dent. Wow. It needed a smaller squid or some smaller prey. That claw was probably not enough for that. Man, that's mental. Next is the peacock mantis shrimp. And we're going to get that for you in just a second here. All right. I'm positive that a lot of you know what these little bastards are, and I'll even go so far as saying that some of you might even own one in a saltwater aquarium. If you do own one, you have balls. Even though these things are thought of as shrimp, they're not shrimp. They are stomatopods, or stomatopods, which are related to crabs and lobsters. The eyes on these guys are the most advanced eyes of the animal kingdom. We can only see with 3 photoreceptors, which are red, green, and blue, but their eyes have 16 photoreceptors, which is the whole spectrum, and then some, meaning they can see colors that we can't even imagine. They can even see UV light and polarized light. In addition to this, they have club-like appendages that they use to deliver the fastest punch in the world. They can cripple most prey and can even fuck up the hand of a person. Hence why they're called the thumb splitters. That's actually insane. I mean, not only did they get the craziest eyes, and they look awesome, but they can also fucking destroy you with a punch. They can cut through wetsuits like nothing. Their punch is comparable to a shot bullet. I did, in fact, see videos on that. Their punch causes a spark underwater from the speed and friction. Wow. Unfortunately, no videos included in this pack of such things, but I have seen some stuff. I wonder if, like, there's any cases of them breaking glass of their, like, aquarium. Several. Wow. It's pretty cool. Also, yeah, I don't know if I'd want that as a pet. The next one is the zebra mantis fish. These are basically just peacock mantis shrimp, but with slight differences. Sadly, they aren't colorful, but that does provide an advantage of hiding in sand. These guys will sit and wait in a little hole waiting for prey to pass by, but instead of clubbing prey with the club-like arms, they have spear-like appendages instead. They'll use these to snag fish or whatever comes close and drag them into their burrow. And yes, if you're brave enough, you can own these as pets too. Oh, man. We're just handing out spears now, huh? Wild. Bobbit worm. Why were these put on the planet? God only knows. These worms spend most of their lives buried in the sand. They may not look like much, but there have been reports where they can reach lengths of up to 10 feet long. They're opportunistic predators that will wait in their burrow and wait for prey to get close. When prey gets close enough, they'll attack with horrifying tooth-like structures, and they will violently drag them beneath the sand. And no, they're not named after John and Lorena Bobbit case. Oh god. I am aware of that particular case. They look a little bit like dune sandworms. There's some... Did you ever see that video? I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know if it's the same thing. Probably not, but someone puts a cheeseburger near the sand, and then a fucking worm comes out and, like, bites it. And it's, like, huge. They pull it out. This is it? Same thing? Wow. Yep. Oops. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. God, you know, to me, when I see this and I think about that poor little fishy, and I'm like, what is this planet? What is nature? Like, it's the easy thing to say is nature cruel. And there's no answer. It's just nature. It is just what it is. It's things need to eat, the cycle of life, etc., etc. But man, that looks fucked up. Like, I irrationally dislike this creature because of that. Oh, no. Again, my playlist is on random, but that was the perfect song for this creature. Gossamer worm. These strikingly mesmerizing worms spend their whole lives in the midwater section of the ocean, swimming and eating zooplankton. When threatened, they can release a bioluminescent mucus that glows with beautiful gold-like gold yellow. If you look closely, don't you think these sort of look like ghost leviathans from Subnautica? Once again, kind of weirdly perfect music for the occasion. I think it's pretty obvious that the Subnautica devs would take inspiration from stuff that already exists. But, oh man, the way they move, that is so strange. Do you think these things have any thoughts? I know that's like, it's a joke question. It's just impulses. It's just like electrical impulses and instinct. What would they think about? Not as we'd consider them. Someone said they have shocking political opinions. Man. You wouldn't believe who this Gossamer worm voted for. It was Reagan. Squidworm. Squidward. Aside from being well known due to their Lovecraftian appearance, not much else is really known about them. The only other tidbits we know is that they swim with bristles in the shape of paddles, called notopodia. Notopodia? And eat marine snow while slowly cruising through the abyss. Yo, we just share a planet with these things. But it's like, when I think about Europa and other planets that we haven't discovered, exoplanets, or, and that's, you know, moon Europa, but, or Io, or like, just various places that look like life could possibly, I don't think the conditions are right for the type of life we have on this planet, necessarily. But when I think about different types of planets with different conditions, or like creatures that survive off of thermal vents, I think that could be maybe what we would find first out of our, planet. And it might look like this. That's my thought when I look at that. However, for this next thing, yeah, my next thing, I'll tell you what I think when I look at this. I won't. These phallic-shaped, oh god damn it, and appropriately named worms are usually small, but they can sometimes grow up to 2 feet in length. Wow. And this is the peanut worm, everybody. Not the peanut. They don't live eventful lives. They spend most of their time burrowing on the ocean floor and eating detritus with a retractable mouth part called an introvert. That even includes filtering through sand. Chat, there's just so much here. You know, like the word peanut, the way it looks. They can be small or 2 feet. They don't live eventful lives. They're burrowing. Their mouth part is called an introvert. Anyway, here's another one. Okay, that's at least a little bit okay. Okay, I don't like the shape of that thing. I don't like the shape of it at all. It freaks me out, chat. Why peanut? There's another word right there. There's a word available that's similar to peanut. This is the acorn worm. Before you say anything, I am well aware that these look very panicular. Grow up. Chad, I'm not saying that. That's literally written here. I wasn't going to say it. The previous one was panicular. What? This thing is like purple. It's panicular. It is. Anyway, these worms are like peanut worms in similar ways. They spend time digging through the sand and filtering edible bits out of the sand on the ocean floor. But what sets them apart from the peanut worms are their descendants. We share about 70% of genes with these worms, meaning that our DNA and the worm's DNA can be traced back to an early common ancestor. Knowing that, how does it feel that our very early ancestors were tubes that ate crap off the ocean floor? No, brother, that's not possible. That's impossible, brother. What? The Lord put these melperts here. Big if true. Oh, they make little patterns while just trying to eat garbage off the floor. So next time you think your life isn't going the way you want, or like you're not really doing much with it, just remember that there are purple-headed penises on the ocean floor eating, like, ejaculate and fucking dead skin cells from fish. And that's their entire life. They don't do anything else. I mean, the easy thing would be to say that that's still more valuable than, I don't know, insert name of person you don't like here. But what a life that is. Vinny, why would you say that? I'm the streamer. Sea butterfly. If you think you're looking at what looks like a snail, you'd be correct. These tiny snails have evolved to swim and travel in currents. Because of this, they don't really need to use a foot anymore, so they've evolved it into two lobes, which look like butterfly wings. They capture plankton by creating a mucus net and letting the plankton swim into it before reeling it back in for consumption. Some species have also been known to be herbivorous. They're just really cool looking. I don't really have much to add to this other than they look cool. These are pretty great. The sea angel. They may look angelic, but don't be deceived. They're anything but angelic. These are kind of like the previous entry, but instead of being snail, these are sea slugs that evolved to swim in the cold, dark depths. In fact, they're related. It doesn't mean they're friendly towards one another, though. These things are predators and will actively chase down and eat sea butterflies with two feeding structures called buccal cones. Buccal cones? These possess 3 tentacles, which are used to hold onto their prey, and they will extract the prey completely out of their shells. As I said before, they're tiny, being roughly 2 centimeters long, but they're significantly bigger than the sea butterflies. I mean, they do look really cool, but yeah, knowing what these freaks do, kind of, man, they start looking a little angelic, and then they turn into Darth Maul. Wow. I think this is the comparison between them and the sea butterflies. It's like that spore shit, or like the games where you start as a small little thing, and then you have to eat small things, and then slightly bigger things, and then more bigger things, and then more bigger. Agario, that's the one. I was trying to think of the name of that. All right. Let's see. This one's called Phylliroe. Filiroe? I'm going to say that's Filiroe. I thought there was a naked dude inside that. Chat, don't ask. I don't know. These things may look like fish, but they're not. They're actually sea slugs that have evolved and adapted to swim just like a fish. They also hunt like some fish do. They've been known to prey on jellyfish by starting with their tentacles, then working their way up. They've also been known to be bioluminescent. Pretty short entry. It looks like there's like, I don't know, the top one looks like there's like chicken inside of it, like raw chicken. Very weird. I like how just the word chicken has activated all the sleeper cells in chat to say chicken jockey. You're good little computers, aren't you? Deep Staria Enigmatica. This looks like something from the movie Arrival. Let's see. Just meaning, I mean, that movie had some fucked up aliens, but yeah. Anyway. Now this is where things become truly otherworldly. These placenta-looking jellyfish are hardly ever seen in the deep ocean alive due to how fragile they are. They usually get up to 2 feet across at their biggest because of their unusual lack of tentacles and their tendency to just sit and drift in the deep. They usually just let prey swim into its bell, and they'll get to work from there. Just let prey swim into its bell. Oh, wow. They do look fragile. Just like little sacks. But, yeah, if like a little, I don't know what they're eating, plankton or maybe like little fish or something, just swims up into that sack. Then they can just extract the nutrient. Wow. Again, very, very different, very otherworldly compared to how we would normally perceive how a thing might feed. Big red jellyfish. This is one of my favorite personal jellies. Personal favorite jellies. These jellyfish can get pretty thick, up to 1 meter across. Instead of possessing tentacles, they have girthy finger-like oral arms. Okay, wait a minute. We've said pretty thick, girthy finger, and oral arms all in the past 5 seconds. Anyway, these oral arms can catch prey. Sadly, we don't really know what their diets consist of. Their beautiful crimson color is used to help them stay hidden in the open from predators who might see it as food. Yeah, they look meaty. I wonder if someone's tried to eat this. They're very meaty looking. I don't like their oral arms. This is the giant phantom jellyfish, possibly one of the most haunting yet beautiful things anyone could ever come across during a deep-sea exhibition. Just like the big red jellyfish, their bodies are crimson color to help stay hidden in the deep. Their bells can reach a little over 1 meter across. They don't seem to have tentacles, but what sets them apart are its oral arms. Again, they're very thin and ribbon-like and have been known to grow up to and over an astounding 33 feet long. Wow. It's presumed that they use their 4 massive oral arms to snag plankton and small fish as they drift through the black depths of the ocean. Yeah, that's nuts. That's crazy. They look like kind of like a garbage bag a little bit. But yeah, I mean, obviously oral arms is a funny word combination, but I get it. I mean, that is their... That's how they eat. That's their mouths. Yeah, really interesting creatures. I wouldn't really want to happen across one of them. Even if I know it doesn't possess like a specific threat to me, they freak me out. And yeah, 33 feet arms is nuts. Here's the Venus girdle. Sometimes called a ribbon jelly, these jellyfish are truly bizarre. They're in the family consisting of comb jellies, or I don't know how to say this, Ctenophora or Ctenophora, Ctenophora, so Ctenophora. So they don't look like your typical jellyfish. Even though we usually see these being small, some have been seen growing up to 1.6 meters in length. Just like some of their comb jelly relatives, they don't possess stinging tentacles. They can still hurt, though. They can still hunt, though. They can wrap themselves around small shellfish and consume them. These beautifully iridescent jellies also exhibit bioluminescence and will light up when disturbed. Yeah, they just look like long, translucent ribbons. Yeah, this is where life and what we would normally describe as life, it just feels very, very different. Like, I'm looking at that, I'm like, what is it? What does it do? Like, I become Carl Pilkington. Do we need him? What is it for? Get rid of him. I mean, it's cool looking, but, yeah, I mean, how does it live? Where are the life parts? Man. And yet in Star Trek, all the aliens are just humans with shit on their heads. Not actual feces. Atolla jellyfish. These UFO-looking jellyfish usually only grow up to 6.8 inches in diameter and will prey upon small crustaceans or anything else drifting through its tentacles. They also have one longer tentacle that is used to help aid in hunting and reproduction. But what makes them special is that they possess possibly the most advanced bioluminescence in the animal kingdom. They flash in patterns and spin around like a loading icon in a video game. They use this to attract bigger predators if they're being threatened by an already present predator. Wow. Thanks to this light show, they can produce a group of scientists invented a device that mimics the light patterns of these jellyfish to attempt to lure larger inhabitants of the deep sea. This device managed to attract a giant squid who came and investigated the light-producing object. Okay, now that is fascinating. We got some videos here. That does look like a flying saucer, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah, those are meaty. Very meaty looking. So we got some videos. Here's the light display. Wow. That's incredible. They do look like lanterns. Whoa, holy shit. Oh, things just got even more insane. I'd be fucking mesmerized if I was a fish. I'd swim up to that thing and get destroyed, crushed, eaten. It does look like a loading bar, or a loading icon. So then, here's the Medusa camera capturing the giant squid. Look at what we did to try to mimic this. I say we, but it's just like a little LED display just going in circles. It's so much more, like, awful. But wow, it actually did work. Oh, that's fascinating. And there it goes. It just for a second was like, hey, what's going on there? And then, nope, this is metal. This does not appear to be food. The concept of a simple LED is incomprehensible to the humble squid. I mean, and again, just not as good. Just not as good. Why go to that light show when the Atolla Jellyfish exists and has a way better light show? The Ctenophora is next. What's this one? Yeah, 296. Alright. So these are numbered. That's how I'm able to do this. Really, really well laid out. If you're interested at all, I'll show you. If you do make... I'm totally down for anyone that wants to make an educational pack, as long as it's something that would be interesting for a Sunday stream. It doesn't even have to be Sunday stream, but I feel like Sunday stream... It's nice to be able to do something different and do something like this and learn and discover things that are kind of cool. So, yeah, this has been a really good way of doing this. It keeps things organized and helps me understand. This is the picture numbers. So, yeah, I'm not sure what other topics. I mean, the insects are good. Paranormal stuff is always fun. The alien stuff, even if they're hoaxes, are fun, but I'm not sure what other things we could learn about that would be good for a Sunday stream. Anyway, the Ctenophora. Due to the numerous species of these deep-sea jellies, I'm just going to lump them together, also called comb jellies. Most of these jellyfish don't propel themselves through the water by flexing and contracting their bodies. Their bodies are lined with little iridescent plates that they use to paddle themselves through the water. They have a vast number of morphologies, from some who possess stinging tentacles while others don't. to those who have different body shapes and colors. They mostly eat small things that float by, but some have been known to hunt, including hunting and cannibalizing their own kind if it accidentally bumps into one. As stated before, there's way too many different species to go over. Almost every year we discover one or more new species of these jellies. So good stuff like that. I think they sell these at the adult section of the CVS. Get that. Meanwhile, people were like, that looks like a blimp. And I'm like, that looks like a... Here's another one. That looks... speaking of chicken. Kind of looks like chicken. That is really interesting. It's kind of amazing how many of these fucking things just look like album covers. Just on their own. And then here's one more. It does look like a Metroid, actually, yeah. And then I have a video here, too. Comb jelly feeding. I believe what happened here was it cannibalized one of its own species because, as stated, when they bump into each other, it does not discriminate. It's just like, oh, food. You know, brain empty. Well, no brain. Helmet jellyfish is next. Weird. These deep-sea dwelling jellyfish are quite unusual for sure. This is stuff like I've seen in Subnautica. Besides looking like they came from a condom factory, they're very accustomed. I'm glad they said it. Very accustomed to living in the deep sea, too accustomed for that matter. The red pigment that's in most of their bodies is very photosensitive, meaning that they will actively stay away from any light source, including the lights used on ROVs. Light can actually harm the jellies, even killing them in some cases. Damn. Look like strawberries. Yeah, they do look like candies. They're weird. The forbidden evil strawberry. Speaking of Metroid, the Christmas ornament jellyfish, still unknown. This one's probably going to be short. Besides looking like a cool glass-blown ornament you put on a Christmas tree, there's barely any info on these jellyfish since they've only been seen a few times in the history of the deep-sea exploration. Also very, very cool looking. It's all those like tentacles, if they're even called that. Just things, long things, but they are very cool looking and Metroidian. Firework jellyfish. Very rare jellyfish, and are named this way because of their tentacle placement and their internal body structure, which looks like a firework or even an eye. Aside from eating small things that drift in its path, there's not a lot of info about them. On a side note, they kind of look similar to the eye jelly from Subnautica Below Zero. Okay. Yeah. Really cool patterns. Speaking of album cover worthy, I mean, the resolution here is not great, but just really, really interesting and cool looking. The box jellyfish. One of the main reasons why you probably should never enter the oceans around Australia. Sorry, Australia fans. By now, almost all of you should know what these things are and how deadly its venom is. But did you know that the box jellyfish in a single genus have complex eyes? Most jellyfish do possess simple eyes, even though they're very small and hard to see. But the eyes of this particular box jellyfish have have eye clusters which include 2 image-forming eyes in each cluster. One faces out in the water while the other faces up. This is believed to help them navigate better hunting grounds, even though it's believed that what they see is very blurred and somewhat primitive. On a side note, someone recently filmed a very rare species of box jellyfish that's only been seen one other time. I don't think the mouth-washing soundtrack is working great for this stuff. It's a little tough. It's very noisy. I kind of have to it's just like a flashbang. I might have to not have that in the playlist. There's like a couple that work, but yeah, it's a tough soundtrack to talk over. So there's the eyes. Wow, they're tiny. But you could almost see it like evolving a face at some point and becoming like a jellyfish man. And then here's this. This is the rare species. Wow. The detail. It got a lot of tattoos. Oh yeah, this picture. This is a famous one. This is really, really interesting. Nomura's jellyfish. Make all your jokes now, chat, about Nomura and his storylines writing about jellyfish. These jellyfish are common in the waters between China and Japan and can even be seen in shallow waters. They can get really big. Their bells can reach 6 feet across, and some have been documented having tentacles 100 feet long. And yes, those tentacles can really hurt. Remember how I said they're common? Well, at times they can become way too common. Their populations can suddenly explode out of nowhere, and they can be a huge problem for the local ecosystem. They even almost toppled some of the fish markets in Japan. Combined with their large sizes, they can overfill and weigh down the nets of fishermen and can kill off almost all of the fish fishermen catch. It is believed that these sudden population explosions are caused by the warming of the ocean's water. They're huge. They're just how are they this big? My God. Can you eat them? Maybe you can grind them into a pulp? I'm sure people have tried. But they're just so massive. Some Death Stranding shit. Yeah, I mean, they're just... Eat what? They're basically water. A lot of Asian countries make a salad out of jellyfish species that are edible. Jellyfish are actually crunchy, believe it or not. That's weird. I don't know if that's true, but that's what a chat member just said. I just can't fathom... Okay, the species that are edible, that means that people were eating inedible species of jellyfish at some point, just to see if it would work. I mean, I guess that's how all food is discovered. Siphonophore. Even though these oceanic oddities are in the same phylum as jellyfish, they're not really related. Siphonophores are what some would call superorganisms or colonial organisms. They're not individuals. Each part of their body is made of smaller organisms called zooids. There's mouth washing again. Each zooid has a job of in the colony, like catching food, distributing nutrients among the others, movement, etc. There's several species of Siphonophore, and each one has a unique or similar body plan and colony structure. There's a famous case where there was one spotted and filmed in the deep sea and was shown to a Japanese audience. The reaction says it all. This instance would be named the Flying Spaghetti Monster due to its appearance and resemblance to the tasty and holy entity. There was also another famous case that happened recently in the deep sea canyons off Ningaloo in April 2020, where there was an instance spotted in the shape of a spiral. Uzumaki. People observing estimated it to be somewhere between over 150 and 390 feet long, making it the longest animal ever documented. Wow. All right, well, we've got some images and we got some videos, so there's plenty of images for this one. It's like a varied. They're the same phylum as jellyfish, but they're not really related. Yeah, they're really, really weird. Never even knew about these guys. But, you know, the thing about jellyfish is they have a catchy name. It's a very, very catchy name. Siphonophore is a little harder to say. Of course, Metroid music starts playing when I'm talking about jellyfish. All right, so here we go. Siphonophore and giant Siphonophore. Here we go. I have to lower that. I don't know why it was maximum volume. For a second, I thought that was Endo from Gaki, but no. It's weird to see people reacting to this, but I mean, their reactions do say it all. It is a very, very fucking weird creature. Wow. And then here's the giant one. Oh my god. This was the famous case that happened in the deep sea canyons. There's an instance in the shape of a spiral. 150 to 390 feet long. That's one organism? Longest animal ever documented. That is seriously fucking Uzumaki shit. You want a reaction image? Alright, I gotcha. It's many animals working together. Well, it says here, longest animal ever documented. Here's another reaction. I won't forget you, buddy. Crazy. All right, here we go. See, I might have to divide this into another part, maybe? Maybe not. Let's see. Portuguese man of war. This is possibly the most well-known species of Siphonophore. These things are almost like floating fortresses. The tentacles are made up of different zooids that have different roles to play, and they're all supposed to be, supported by one polyp that dwarfs the rest and acts as a gas bladder. As beautiful as they can look, it's advised that you should never get too close to one as their stings are extremely painful and can even be lethal on rare occasions, even when they're washed ashore. Even though they seem like they're unstoppable, they do have some predators that are immune to their poison, like the aforementioned blanket octopus and some species of fish. There's even some fish that will hide out in their tentacles as a form of defense. Hmm. Yeah, so if you see this, like, don't step on it. Don't pee on it either. Ugh, they're gross. It's a whole bunch of them. Yeah, there's quite a bit more. Not quite a bit, but there's more. There's more. I'm gonna see. It's getting late. I don't know if I have the energy to continue, but here's Salp. These unusual creatures look like they don't have much to them aside from being almost completely transparent. But they share a common ancestor that would later evolve and branch off into the vertebrae. The vertebraes. Oh. Everything that has a backbone and a developed nervous system, including us, is related to these things that unfortunately look somewhat similar to a fleshlight. They've been known to reproduce by sprouting chains of smaller instances, and they will sometimes stay in these chains until something breaks them off. I thought this was mouthwashing music. It's Super Paper Mario. Sprouting chains of smaller instances and sometimes stay in these chains until something breaks them off. That's so weird. Chain of salps. They just stay together? That's so fucking weird. That's a lot of salps. Okay, here's the Pyrosome. These are just like salps and other species of tunicate, but they're really small. However, they've been known to grow colonies which look like very long tubes. Sometimes these colonies can go from a few millimeters in length up to 60 feet long, or longer than that. They push water through the hollow tube to filter very small prey items, nutrients for each tunicate to ingest. It was reported that somehow a penguin ended up getting stuck in one of these colonies and ended up drowning. Ah. It was reported on Penguin News. But you do have to wonder, like, how much does that happen in the natural world that we just don't know about? That is, you know, that poor penguin was reported. The other penguins told us. But what about the penguins that weren't able to tell? Okay. Alright. Paul Atreides here. Riding Shai Halud. Yeah. Yeah, that looks like just a tube. The tube is the most effective form of life on this planet, as so many things eventually evolve into tube. But yeah. Well, actually, that's not... I mean, they just become colonies of tube. That's the difference. They're not actual tubes, they're just colonies. They're working together to form a super organism. This turtle is, like, delicious. I do enjoy a good turtle. wonder if there's any additional turtles in this pack. I think that's pretty much as I'm gonna do tonight. And there's more, but there's not a ton more. So I'll just say this. There's probably like another 35 minutes worth of stuff. Slender Ender Guy. This pack was amazing. Really informative, really interesting, good choices. But I will say, if you have a little bit more to supplement this pack for the final part, maybe a nice, strong ending, even a happy ending. Nah, that would be for the peanut jellyfish thing, or whatever that was. The peanut worm. The humble peanut worm. But, yeah, if there's a little bit more that we can throw in here, and we can go on Nomura's Wild Ride yet again, and just have like a 1 hour long segment, that would be cool for a part 3. I mean, it turns out there's a lot of really interesting deep sea life. And there's some additional stuff I'm seeing here that seem very, very interesting. So that'll be next time, whenever we do that. Thank you, chat, for watching this segment. Night chat, have sweet dreams of Tube getting ripped to shreds. Tube Colony. Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and we can learn new things once in a while on Sunday stream, and not just how bad some video games can be, or how weird some public access stations can be, or how actually fucking depraved and wretched some mobile commercials can be. It's a different kind of educational, but it's I don't know, this is kind of also interesting. I just find our natural world to be interesting. We did deep space sounds. Did we ever do, like, weird finds on planets? Like, just strange things that were found? Because that would be a cool segment. There was a lot of really weird shit on the moon. Even if you get away from the conspiracy stuff, there's photos of the moon that have some really strange structures, or seemingly. And, whether or not, that's anything, it's still interesting to go over. There's the face on Mars, Cydonia, which we covered. There's also, the Iapetus planet, or moon, that has, like, it's got, like, a Death Star kind of look to it. And there's I think, is it Iapetus that has the hexagons on it? Regardless, lots of really weird stuff we found in our own solar system. So, the hexagon is Saturn. Oh, right, okay. But, yeah, there's probably lots of other interesting things, like space and deep sea are interesting. There might be some just strange, without getting into ancient aliens stuff. I don't want to be the next Giorgio Tsoukalos, but talking about really cool or interesting things that were built in the ancient world, maybe stuff that is, like, really advanced for its time, or like old devices, that, there's like the Baghdad battery, that kind of shit. The difference being that I won't be, could this possibly be aliens? And the answer is yes. So it could just be something we could talk about. Where do you want people to submit stuff? Vinesauce.email, fill out the contact form. Let me know what you're thinking before you do it. And usually I would say the limit would be 1.5 to 2 hours. And even that, if I'm reading for a full 1.5 hours, it's a lot. So even just 1 hour to 1.5 hours is perfect, I think. So, yeah. All right. Well, chat, thank you once again for watching the Sunday stream that was actually on Saturday. But however, it is currently Sunday right now, so technically this is a Sunday stream. Kinda. Like I said, I'm not going to be around tomorrow, which, I would prefer to stream Sunday streams on Sunday proper, but tomorrow I can't. So I'll just have to take the day, and then I'll be around on Monday. Next week, I'm going to end up playing more Oblivion, RimWorld. We'll do maybe more Blueprints, and that scummy Necrophosis game with the weird Geiger stuff is out. I'll check that out at some point. And just going to play through that stuff for a while. So it'll be fun. Scorn 2, kinda. All right. Goodbye, chat. Thank you. I'm going to go watch the when they release the rats, and I'm going to, try to survive. So good night.